Hope you have a wonderful time.
Now, we return to a man who is always outraged and itchy.
That's an outrage. Here is Tony Bruno.
Oh, you just missed the longest pregame show ever. It felt like Super Bowl Sunday. Hello there. Welcome. It is the Tony Bruno podcast mess, and we thank you for joining us. We had to run out to get all the milk, bread, and eggs and toilet paper as we are hunkered down on the official Hurricane Joaquin podcast on hashtag podcast day. I didn't even know it was a national holiday. I believe Luigi's getting double time now.
I'm not getting any time.
Time and a half.
What do you get for when you work on a holiday? When you're working for a real company where you're getting paid and stuff.
You get time and a half.
This outfit.
Time and a half. Yeah,
Nice, yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're getting time and a half, right?
No, you get screwed. That's what you get for having to work on a holiday.
I'm spending time and a half, and I ain't making any money. Other than that, things are great.
Technically, though, we should have today off, right?
It's podcast day.
Yes. It's podcast day. We should have a vacation day.
I agree. Every day is a vacation day when you're retired. And I found out that's not true at all. But anyway, welcome. Hurricane Joaquin is somewhere down in the Bahamas where it used to be better. And now here we are in October already, and we got a hurricane. We haven't had any hurricanes all summer.
Not for the last few years, actually.
And now this will be the first one, if it makes landfall in the U.S. after it hits the Bahamas. No one knows which direction it's going to go. It's pretty much like this show.
Exactly.
You know, it starts off, it spins around and around and around.
And the wind starts blowing.
And
Right.
where it stops.
A lot of blowing and drifting going on.
Exactly right.
Where it stops, no one will know.
I believe we have tape of a meteorologist talking about Hurricane Joaquin.
Oh, no! We suck again!
Exactly. It went from suck to blow, I think.
Yes.
Is Hurricane Joaquin.
It happens.
But even without the hurricane, the eastern seaboard of the United States getting pounded with all kinds of rain.
Yes.
Boston's getting flooded. We had rains here in the Philadelphia area. This hurricane, after it hits the Bahamas, is supposed to bring rain for like the next 7 days.
6 inches of rain.
And it's not even the hurricane this spring. This is a straight.
No, this is just tropical
I did
moisture.
I did a lot of research before the show.
Yes.
What we're getting the rain before the storm even gets here because no one knows where it's going to go. It could make landfall in North Carolina. It could come all the way up to to Long Island, New York, and make landfall if it does hit the U.S. Now, once it hits the Bahamas, it loses some strength, but then it reestablishes itself. And a lot of times, do you know what the last hurricane was that hit the eastern seaboard of the United States and made landfall?
Hugo?
Sandy.
No, it was last year. It wasn't.
Well, Sandy came.
But that's I'm talking about the last hurricane that actually made landfall on the eastern seaboard of the United States. You're thinking of major hurricanes. You're thinking of destructive ones. Making landfall means it doesn't have to be a
just hit anywhere.
So it could be wimpy.
It could have petered out.
It was Hurricane Arthur.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, 2014, and it made landfall.
Wait, didn't that one get caught between the moon and New York City?
Yes, it did.
And then it fizzled out.
Phenomenal, Arthur.
That is great.
That was great.
That is great crisscross
You
knowledge
like that
right
Chris
there.
Ross. Big Chris Cross fan. Absolutely.
Christopher Cross, not to be confused with Chris Cross.
Right.
Because the Daddy Mac will make you
Yeah, but
jump.
I never understood which one was the Mac Daddy and who was the Daddy Mac.
One of them did, and one of them died. I forget
exactly.
which one it was.
I don't know if the Daddy Mac or the Mac Daddy died.
If it was Chris or Cross.
There was the Miggity Mac.
Because it's wiggity, wiggity, wiggity whack.
Exactly.
Big difference from Christopher Cross.
No doubt about it. So anyway, Hurricane Arthur last year made landfill in North Carolina. This storm can make anywhere landfill from North Carolina all the way up to Long Island.
It's a cone of uncertainty.
It
is what
is.
they're calling it.
It's like the show. You just don't know where it's going to.
It's a big cone of uncertainty here.
So it's like this weekend in Philadelphia. You were in the traffic box. Now you're in the hurricane.
Yeah,
cone. You're in the
box.
hurricane cone.
And the Pope, of course, was here. It was a crazy weekend. We went to Walker Stalker Con.
Oh, that was
Luigi was there with us, and he was actually an accredited member of the media for the first time on the podcast.
You had your press badge?
I had my press badge.
We took pictures. He was very excited.
I popped my media cherry, man. It was phenomenal.
We went over to Arthur. We went over to what's the name of the place, and had a couple of cocktails.
Oh,
and some
yeah.
burgers.
We thought it looked like Big Boy, Bob's Big Boy, but it wasn't.
No, it's a big place up in.
I think it was like
in
Artie's
Oaks.
or something
No, it was
like that, right?
Arthur's like go-kart, go-kart burger shop
Fun
and
center.
dry cleaning or
It's a
something.
huge place. They've got go-karts in there. They got a bowling alley. They got laser tag.
Nice.
They got an old-fashioned bar where you can get burgers. They had football on. So we went in there and had lunch, and then we went back and interviewed a bunch of people. We'll play a couple of the interviews from Saturday. Two of my favorite actors, Seth Gilliam, who's in my favorite show, Walking Dead. He plays What's the father's name? He plays
Father Gabriel.
Father Gabriel Stokes. He's the wimpy priest in Walking Dead, and they're coming back October 11th for the new season. And then he also was in The Wire, a show that I haven't seen, but Luigi, a big fan of The Wire. Now, were you a Wire guy?
Not like Luigi was.
You were wired, though. When
I was wired, yes, exactly.
I'm wired
without television.
Exactly. So now, Luigi, you knew him from The Wire, and he was one of the few actual people on The Wire who was in the entire seasons. What, 6 seasons, The Wire? How long?
Exactly. It was 6 seasons. That was what I mentioned to you, Tone, when I knew him as Detective Carver from The Wire. Because, I mean, I've watched The Walking Dead, but I'm not as big as a fan as everyone else at the convention was. But I watched The Wire from start to finish. He was one of the only, I believe it was 6 or 7 original cast members, characters, that went from start to finish.
And
I mean, other people have died off. They went to prison and forgotten about. Right. But he is one of the 6 or 7 cast members that went the whole way.
And he was also in Oz. Remember the HBO show?
Yeah, Oz was great.
He played Clayton Hughes in the TV show Oz. I'll go even farther back. He was in Starship Troopers.
Yeah, Starship Troopers.
Did you realize that?
It's one of the greatest
cult
movies
ever.
That
was a bad B movie.
Oh, but that was a good movie, Starship. It wasn't a B movie.
The movie stunk.
No, it was a big hit. It wasn't a B movie.
It was not a big hit.
Yes, it was. Starship Troopers was a big hit.
I think you're confusing it.
You watch Starship Troopers when there's nothing else on, and you
I don't mean
sure
now.
that
I
there's
mean when it
nothing
came
else on.
out. When it came out, the visual in this movie, it was a pretty big movie.
Oh no! Listen, the bugs and everything, like the
and they had
special
some big
effects
name
was
out. What's her name was in it? Was the hot chick that was in there?
Yeah, she was awful. I mean, like
Wasn't
so
she married
bad.
to?
They usually are.
Who else was it?
Denise Richards.
Denise
It's
Richards.
like one of the worst.
But
Like
she's
they
like
made
40
fun
pounds
of her.
now.
Neil Patrick Harris was in that movie.
I know.
How about that?
I don't
Who else? Who
remember
was the
him.
main character, the guy in there that was the main Starship?
Casper Van Dien.
That's right, Casper Van Dien.
Played Johnny Rico.
But look at some of the.
Isn't he in the minors for the Phillies now?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, he's.
Jake
Wait, did
Busey
you
was
say,
in it.
Did you say who did he play? Casper Van Dien.
Johnny Rico. Ay, papi, qué rico.
Had a Latin flair to it.
Well, you one guy I will rip tonight on the show too, and I hate to do it. John Barenthal.
Unbelievable.
What happened there?
You know who John Barenthal is, right? He's been in a lot of things.
Yeah.
He's a good actor.
It's like Giancarlo. He's been in a lot of things.
I've seen John Barenthal in about 7 movies in the past 3 months, and I'm actually starting to like the guy until I went to that convention.
What did he do? He went.
It's not that he big time us.
No,
I don't
he
care.
didn't big time. He looked like he big time everybody. Like
Really?
he looked annoyed to be there.
Really?
Yeah. So he's got a baseball cap on and a hoodie over it.
No shirt under the hoodie. Hoodie unzipped.
So he had an
what's that all
unzipped
about?
hoodie and then a baseball hat.
Yeah.
And he's chewing gum. And now the guy's getting paid a lot of money. This is why I have a problem with celebrities who just then don't go and take the check then if you're going to do
nailed
John
it incompletely.
Barenthal. So you don't get a chance much as like we go out and do stuff and we're not celebrities. We go out and say hi to people.
Right.
This guy's a big time actor, right?
Yep.
Not only was in the Walking Dead, and that's why he's there because a lot of Walking Dead fans and people are standing in line. You know, there's like 30 people in line. They're paying like $30 for an autograph, $50 autograph and picture, and it seemed like every time somebody would be in line next up, he would be like annoyed that he would have to go up there and take a picture with these people.
That's ridiculous.
And I'm like, you're standing here, you're probably making 20, 25 grand.
Yeah.
You know, and these people,
Be a little appreciative.
you're successful because of those people.
Exactly.
All right?
Right,
Exactly.
right.
And you're getting paid to say hi to them.
Wow, that's
You should be running from around the table to take pictures
Exactly.
with these people.
Now, it's not like he's being hassled. And so we got in the line. There was a line for media people. And then we stand in line and they say he's not doing any interviews. I don't care if he wants to want to talk to me. It's not about me.
Right.
It's just the whole overall, I'm bigger than everybody else. And let's be honest, as good of an actor as he is, he's not a big star.
No, he's not.
No.
He can walk down the street and very few people would
He
recognize him.
doesn't warrant that type of behavior.
But he's been in a lot of good movies. He's a good actor. I'm
Right.
not taking
He's one of
anything
those
away
guys you
from
know.
him.
That's why I said, like, I actually I'm really like as far as an actor goes, I'm starting to like the guy.
Right.
But you know, he kind of
He knocked you down a few
He
notches.
soured me a little bit from that.
Yeah. He insulted you a little bit.
We went up to when I was the one who went up to the media line, Tone. I went to the media line and I asked, I said, you know, can we get up there to do an interview with John? He goes, well, you know, John's not taking interviews, and we kind of like made eye contact for a second. He kind of gave me the I'm not doing anything with anyone.
Now,
right
if he had come after you, would you have been able to drop him
I
right
would
there, you
have
think?
beat the crap out of John.
Because he's buff,
Barenthal.
you know.
He ain't buff. He ain't buff. He's not buff.
You think you could have taken him?
I think I know.
All right, that's good.
No, you do know I've trained like MMA for 12 years.
Even with his auto injury, too.
Even
you can
after
still take
your,
him.
I was just going to say, even
You
after
got to
your
watch.
car,
I mean, he could
car wreck?
give you a little,
Yes.
all right.
I would have videotaped
I
it.
got two hands, the right or the left.
I would have
smack you either one, it doesn't
videotaped
matter.
you beating up John Barenthal, and then I would have posted it and had 1 million views and made money.
I wouldn't even have beat him up.
And then I would have been goading you on. Like, you see these videos of fights and stuff?
Ah, they're big hits.
And people
Yeah.
would say, yeah, go ahead, hit him again.
Yeah.
Hit him again.
Nobody stops it. They're just egging it on.
Hit him again.
I would toss him in a sharpshooter for like 20 minutes. and had people come up and take free pictures of him in the sharpshooter. How about that? And this is the show you really want to listen to. There's a lot of news going to be dropped on tonight's episode.
We're dropping everything, man.
Yes.
We're dropping it like it's hot.
But we talked about this earlier in the show, and I told this to Tony. Tony didn't even realize it. This is the 1 year anniversary.
That's right.
This is our 1 year anniversary. Yes.
And what do we have on the table here?
This right here. This bottle of Vladimir right here. This
That's
plastic.
1 year.
Wait, you
Which
have
I
to point
picked
out,
up.
it is plastic.
It is
Yes.
plastic. All right.
I picked it up at Front and Snyder. Front and Oregon, rather.
Because if it was a glass bottle, the bottle would be worth more than the contents.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So they went plastic.
This bottle has not been opened or attempted to be opened in 365 days.
Yes.
And as you
For
can
good
see,
reason.
well, you can't see if you're not if you're watching it on our YouTube
they'll
channel.
they'll say.
I took a shot out of this bottle,
A year ago
and it
tonight.
catapulted me
Yes.
to where I am today.
Into Cooper Hospital.
To where I am
Yes.
today.
Now, we were daring people to actually take shots of that Vladimir vodka
Yeah.
when Luigi brought it the first time he
No,
came to
no,
the bar.
Joe brought it.
That's
I
right,
brought
Joe
it.
brought
I picked
to-
it up on Front Street.
It was here at Dockside.
Yes.
And we were downstairs,
Downstairs
in
in
the
the
game
lobby.
room.
Correct.
We were in the game room on the piano, and there were
Yes.
people there.
Oh, talk about audio disaster.
Yeah, that was a
night.
little, yeah.
That was rough.
Tony's mom got up and walked out.
She got up and walked out.
My
She couldn't
mom
take it.
walked out.
She said, "Shut up, you face," and she left.
Exactly.
I'm going to smack you
Wasn't
upside the
that
head.
that was Charles
Charles
Barkley?
Barkley,
Night?
Charles,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
That was the
and we kept
infamous-
losing
the
the
lost audio.
connection because this was before when we had our old phones and a different service.
Right.
And me and Luigi hit it off immediately.
That was the first time that you met?
Yeah.
I
I had no clue who he
I
was.
left my job 2 days, October 4th, 2 days before that show. Robin was sent out a message on Twitter saying if we're having a live show, it's an invite only, if anybody would like to come. So I responded to that. Robin DM'd me and said that, hey, okay, we would love to have you. I show up. Joe said he was going.
Yeah.
He showed up.
See, I thought Luigi brought the Vladimir. I didn't
No,
know you
I
did,
picked
Joe.
brought
Robin.
it.
Robin called me, and I was coming off. I was just coming off the bridge. I went to Front and right across from Cheerleader.
Fine wine and
Yes.
cheap liquor store. Yeah.
Exactly.
I came in and was listening to the show. Was nothing more as a fan of Tony as I've been for decades now.
Exactly.
And Joe and I were talking the whole time after the show was over. We got to mingling a little bit. I
Yeah.
said, "Is there anything I could do to ever help you guys out?" Because obviously I'm not doing anything right now.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, there was a show at Tony Luke's that you
Yeah.
did a little while,
Yep.
a week or two
And
after
you
that.
came there and helped set up. I mean, you were like,
And now a year later,
A
ladies
year
and
later,
gentlemen,
here we are.
1 year later,
Yes.
we're all still broke, bitter, battered
Yes.
performers, but we're still going strong. And it's going to get better and better and better.
It is getting
It is.
better and better.
Yes, and we have so much news that is coming up.
We have breaking news?
Well,
Are we going to
first
save
of
that?
all, first of all, we want to thank Blog Talk Radio for the
Yes, we
last
do.
year and their support and everything that's been going on with them and how much they've helped propel us in the correct
Jay
direction.
Soderbergh
Jay
and-
Soderbergh and Andy Toe. And we love Blog Talk
Don't
Radio.
forget Amy.
And Amy Domestico. I mean, all of them have
Absolutely.
absolutely fantastic. And if anybody is looking to start a podcast, please contact them. They are fantastic for people that are starting out. And we wouldn't be here without them. But we have news. Starting next week, the Tony Bruno Show is going to be part of the largest podcast network in the world, Podcast One.
Can we get a roaring round of applause
Yes.
for that, Tony?
Excellent.
And we announced this on hashtag Podcast Day.
Yes.
Day, exactly.
I didn't even know it was
Happy
Podcast
holiday, Tony.
Day. It is a happy holiday.
Yes.
We're going to have cocktails. We're not drinking Vladimir, though.
Is this a holy day of obligation? Because I
think
didn't go
it
to
is.
church.
I didn't even go to communion when the Pope gave Mass. And what a
going-
great week it's been. The Eagles get their first. Well, I get to see the Pope with my mom.
Right, which just tops everything, yes.
The Eagles win their first game, as I predicted. They finally would.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys blow a 14-point lead and lose.
Yes.
Then you have what else was good this week? Then something else. Then of course the Pope.
Right.
I put the Pope
Right,
first.
right.
Yes.
Because my mom and the Pope. Eagles, Cowboys, and then the announcement of the Podcast One.
Of course.
Partnership.
And then the Nationals fighting each other.
And then the
killing each other.
Nationals. That's right. Then
Yes.
Bryce Harper being choked by
imploding.
Jonathan Papelbon.
Yes.
But that's the national breaking news. The
Yes.
local breaking news hasn't broke yet, which I'm sure
Right.
will break sometime during this show.
What's the local breaking news?
The local breaking news. Well,
always
the
the last
reason
to know.
reason
You're
why-
being evicted.
the reason
My rent's going up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I knew that.
we hinted about it on Twitter a couple days ago with a lights camera action. But
Lights, camera, action.
You're
yeah,
saying
I know,
I'm sorry,
I was-
Miss Jackson?
But there's still some details being worked out. So I don't know if I want to actually give the whole thing away or.
Are you talking
Or
about
drips
next
and
week's
drabs.
show?
Yes.
No, we don't announce that yet.
We're not
Okay.
teasing
Not gonna
that
announce
yet.
it yet?
We're not going. We're going to
She's
hold
just
that.
teasing it. She's
Just
teasing it.
all we're telling people is the date. I told them to book the date, October 6th.
Right.
That portion is probably not going to change.
So it would be
Probably.
next Tuesday, October 6th.
Yes.
Provided we all survive Hurricane.
Yes,
Correct.
of course. Unless
Hurricane
we're not floating down in
Joaquin.
Delaware.
Joaquin.
But so save the date, October 6th. You have a date with Tony Bruno,
Oh, beautiful.
but
nice.
the rest of the details are going to follow. Now we
Meanwhile, the other things going on, we have the new websites up. We want to thank
Yes.
Michael DeLuca, the young
Yeah, it looks
man.
great.
He's done a great job.
saw
And
it.
Now,
Nathaniel-
Nathaniel's a big expert on websites as well.
Well, no,
not just-
he's the one that started this on the Squarespace direction.
Correct.
And he put the shell together. And then Michael has been adding elements to it because Michael's actually an intern and Nathaniel's actually giving him direction. It's
Oh,
fantastic.
beautiful.
So it's a.
Well, I wanted to give Michael some love
Yes.
because obviously Nathaniel's done so much stuff, video-wise and with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
website.
he's a great guy.
I mean, he does everything. He's photography, video. Is there anything he doesn't do? I don't think he does weddings. So I don't think. Well, you know,
Yeah.
he does weddings.
Do you do
he
windows?
does weddings.
Does he do bar
Actually, he
mitzvahs?
lot of
doesn't
windows
drink.
here.
That's the only thing he
He
doesn't,
doesn't
do.
drink.
That's it.
Which makes him a cheap date for
Doesn't
us.
drink.
Yes.
We have to fix that.
We-
If he's
You have a character flaw.
Whenever we're going out, if we want to drink, we have a designated driver.
Oh, that's
it's
true.
fantastic.
Yeah, you know what? Forget
This
about
is like
that. Yeah.
fantastic. We couldn't have asked for a better
Right.
producer.
Exactly.
Now, looking ahead with this, we're talking about the hurricane and the weather.
Yes.
That Philadelphia Eagle-Washington game on Sunday, they may have to move that. They're making contingency plans because that's a 1 o'clock start on Sunday, which is when they're projecting that this storm could be hitting
Yes, Sunday
this
to
part
Monday,
of the
I think.
country.
Right, but if there's
So-
no lightning, they're going to play.
Yeah,
I
but there's
don't
a
know.
difference between a thunderstorm with lightning and a storm with major winds.
Yeah, but didn't they play a game in Miami with, I think
Yeah.
it was Miami versus Pittsburgh a while back, and I mean, that was like a hurricane on the field. It was for the final score.
But
was
it's not
3-0.
about the
Yeah.
players playing on the field. It's about spectators getting in and out safely.
They played.
They've had games in Rich Stadium in Buffalo where the goalpost blew over. I mean, because
That's
it
what I'm
was like
saying.
70
They're gonna
mile an
play.
hour
Yeah,
winds
but
during the
this
game.
is a different era now. People
Yes,
don't.
era of
it's all-
wussers.
The NFL doesn't want.
that's right.
any-
They wanna see points.
They don't
Yeah.
want lawsuits. They don't want lawsuits. They don't want people getting hurt going to games.
Right.
I'm not saying they're going to cancel the game. They're going to make their as of this.
They might have a bye and move it to week 8, is what they said.
It
that's
depends
what
on
they're
how
talking
bad
about.
this storm is.
Yeah.
But you think they could have played during Hurricane Sandy when that hit?
Okay, so it was fine and dandy for them to play here at the Link when we had 4 feet of snow on the ground and had people drive in and out of the
The
stadium.
people drove. The storm started during the game. It started during the game.
They
It
were
wasn't-
calling for it.
No, they weren't calling for that. They blew that storm big time, right? Nobody was calling for a foot of snow. I'm
Yeah, that
telling
was,
you, if they knew that there was going to be that much snow, they would not have played that game. I remember the Sunday night game a couple of years ago when the Eagles played the New England Patriots, and they postponed that game when the storm was coming because we were down at Comcast. I was doing stuff for San Francisco
Yep.
down at the Wells Fargo Center,
Right.
And I was on satellite back to the West Coast because I was doing the Raiders post game and halftime,
Uh-huh.
and it started snowing. It didn't even start to snow when we got there. We got there, it was perfectly clear. And people saying, why did they postpone the
Right,
Sunday
right.
night NFL game between the Eagles and Patriots? There's not a drop of snow.
Yeah,
That
and then it
storm
hit.
came, and by the time Robin and I left
And I want
the
to say
Comcast facility,
you were only in there for what? 4 hours, 6 hours?
five
maybe?
hours.
Yeah.
They had to plow 5 times just to keep a lane clear. That's how hard it snowed. So that was one of those preemptive strikes because if they had people go out to that game,
Oh, it would have
they
been a
would not have been
disaster.
able to get out of there and gotten home.
It would have been
So
an
this
absolute
is, When you
disaster.
have a chance, when you know a storm is coming, you know snow is coming, they err on the side of caution.
Well, nowadays it's all about caution.
Exactly. Look what the Pope.
Yes.
Look what they did in this city with the Pope. 2 days later, they're still cleaning
Yeah,
up stuff.
exactly.
They still had the bridges closed.
Right.
Instead of right afterwards, they had stuff closed for 2 days.
Oh, yeah. Major highways,
Monday,
bridges.
after the Pope's been gone since 8 o'clock the night before, the schools were closed. All the city offices were closed.
Right.
You know what that is?
It's an outrage.
I'll tell you what. closing the schools and all that other stuff, it's a bit much.
It makes
and
no
everything.
sense.
But all the security and things that they did, I don't disagree with it.
But I don't. The security's fine.
I would rather err on the side of caution.
No, the security's fine,
that.
but they closed way too many.
Absolutely, they did.
There was no reason for them to close the school.
And it hurt, and what it did, because Ed Rendell, the former mayor and former governor, ripped into the current mayor, Michael Nutter, today.
And he was right about that.
And
I usually blast him.
The media got blamed
Yep.
for giving people bad information about what streets were closed. I mean, I'm trying to walk with my mother, and people didn't know which way for me to go. An hour before the mass, I'm pushing my mom in a wheelchair. The problem was that the mayor in the city of Philadelphia overreacted. I agree with security. I understand rooftop snipers. I understand the Pope's got Secret Service guys around him. But the Pope's in a plexiglass Jeep Wrangler, wide open, and he's riding in a Fiat in the back seat with the window down.
Right.
Yeah, we've got to close bridges, every street within a 5-mile radius. It's ridiculous.
And the reason why they closed the Schuylkill was because it's difficult to close it temporarily, and they thought that he'll be driving
for a full day before he got here.
And he had to drive from downtown to up to the seminary, which is up on Main Line Avenue. So they had to close the entire Schuylkill, which was quite ridiculous because he could have just taken a helicopter from the seminary right here, which would have given us fantastic vantage point, by the way, next door to Dockside, and then he could have taken his little Pope car right downtown.
Well, because we are downtown.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been...
My point is, when you overdo something, you inconvenience a lot of people.
And you scare people off.
It was scared more than anything else.
And
they
scared a lot of local people went to the shore.
Right. Or out of the state completely.
And by the way, all the hotels that were supposed to be overbooked
they
not.
weren't, exactly.
All the restaurants that were supposed to get benefits.
All the riders
people.
that were supposed to go on SEPTA didn't go.
Supposedly, only 20,000 people from outside came into the city for the Festival of Families. 20,000 people. They were talking about 500,000 people coming in.
Right.
Now, on Sunday for the Mass, there were 800,000, but those were mostly local people and the people who were still in town.
And a lot of that was last minute. People all of a sudden
people
were going
just
to go.
showed up because you didn't need a ticket.
You didn't need a ticket,
unless you were in the seated area.
Yes.
Where I was, thanks to our buddy Ed Nasta, who got the tickets.
Who,
for us.
by the way, is listening right now.
So my final comments to Mayor Michael Nutter, soon to be deposed after 2 terms running this city. I have this to say, Mr.
Get out! Get out!
Thank you, Harry. Although Robin's annoying me. She's watching like Jersey Boys every night, the movie,
Every night.
and it was horrible.
Right.
I couldn't watch it.
It's growing.
Can you believe
I'm
it?
telling you, I couldn't watch it past the first 20 minutes.
The guy that played...
I didn't like it like Luigi did.
The guy that plays Frankie Valli doesn't
His
look
voice is-
anything like Frankie
It's not
Valli.
even... It's
With
not
all
so
the
much of his
actors
voice.
in the world, they got a guy who looks... I look more like Frankie Valli
You
than
do.
this
You
guy
know what,
did.
though? But, I mean, it's
Coulda
really
got
not
Richard
about
Grieco to
the
play
look.
that part.
Exactly. What's he doing?
It wasn't about the look so much. It's supposedly about the voice. But then I listened to the voice, and it was just... excuse me, awful. Awful.
I refused to watch it.
I don't know what
went to
that
go
was.
see the musical, and I didn't want to go see it. The only reason I
Flagger.
went to go see Jersey Boys, the musical, is because of the songs.
Right.
I didn't care about the story. I don't care about the Joe
Right.
Pesci's involvement.
Right.
Who cares? The only thing that made that musical watchable
The music.
was listening to the Four Seasons music.
The music
Well,
of your youth.
remember, Tony, at the very end of that movie when he says, what was the best part? When everything fades away and it was just about the music, and that's what the whole movie was about. You watched it for the music, and you're kind of right. The guy really didn't.
But there wasn't enough music. The first 20 minutes, they're going to jail, and the other guy's going to jail, and then Frankie Valli's going to jail, and they're going to a church, and I'm like, all right, enough.
Right. You've had enough.
I've had enough.
Yes.
As Frank Sinatra once said,
Yes.
when guys were tuning up some guy in an alley.
Yes.
Hey, you know how he stopped it? You know how he
That's
broke
enough.
that up?
No.
That's enough.
That's
he
enough.
said.
That's enough.
That's all he had to say.
Fantastic.
That's all he had to say.
No, I never heard that
It's
story.
an old Sinatra story. These guys were beating the hell out of a guy in Vegas, and Sinatra broke it up. He stopped. You know what he said? That's enough.
That's great. That's great.
You know why? Because he could. God bless. Here's to the chairman.
To the chairman of the board, Joe Corrado. He could be the biggest Frank Sinatra.
Oh, I love him. Love him.
I can't call you a groupie, though, right?
No, more of a, I should have been born during that era.
I don't think you can
type
be
of guy.
groupie after somebody's dead.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Have you seen people that go to Jim
That's
Morrison's
more of a
grave
ghoulie.
in
Yeah,
Paris?
that's true.
Have you seen the chicks that show up in Paris,
It's
France?
incredible.
Yeah, I'm not going to Hoboken every day to, go visit these.
Exactly.
You're not?
But I am.
I'm not taking that traffic every day.
Exactly. I got to go there for work as it is.
Meanwhile, did you see the other big story? It's not a sports story, but we'll get into some sports, too. is the president of MTV stepped down.
Yeah, that's pretty
See
big
that?
news. Yep.
Yes.
Stephen Friedman.
What a legacy.
Who's been in charge of MTV since 2008.
He should have stepped down when they canceled Remote Control.
He
Remote
stepped down.
Control was the greatest show
But
ever.
he did bring MTV into the next generation.
Right.
With shows like Jersey Shore.
Yes.
Teen Mom.
Yes.
And Teen Wolf.
By appealing to the lowest common denominator in
Exactly.
society. Yes, he did do
turned
that.
MTV from a music channel into the worst
Yes.
reality shows ever presented.
Which have and the viewers have now gone mainstream, which now we're all in trouble.
But the guy that replaced him, they have a replacement.
Yeah, who
ready.
did they? Who?
Sean Atkins was the...
Did he make the diet?
No, that's
all
not
right.
the same guy.
Okay.
Is he the one responsible for like the Real World?
No. Sean Atkins?
No, the
I don't think so. It's Real World was before 2008. This guy came in 2008.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 2008 he came.
Yeah, this guy's only been there from 2008, but he's being credited with taking them into the new generation, which means their ratings have gone down like 50% since he's been in charge.
Exactly.
Throwing all this crap on, like Catfish and all these
deserved.
other shows. So the new guy, his name is Sean Atkins. He's a media executive, a digital media executive at Discovery Communications, which is a big company, the Discovery Channel.
Right.
And I understand I already have exclusive updates on what he will be doing to try to revamp
Oh, here
MTV.
we go. Go ahead, here we go.
His first new show will be called The Deadliest Teen Mom. I think that's the first new show that's going to be on.
She has an STD.
And then he's going to follow it up
Crabs
with
are bigger than ever this season.
Crabnado. Crabnado too.
Deadliest Teen Mom. That's
Yes.
Discovery Channel. And then the second show, my sources at Discovery have told me that the second show that will be on as a mid-season replacement will be Jersey Shore Repo.
Oh, nice. I like that.
They get Ken Cage and the crew.
Yes.
And they go up to North Jersey and
Take
they
everybody's
repossess-
IROC.
And they take back stained futons.
Exactly.
Yes,
and they
that's
take
great.
away their talent, but unfortunately there was none ever.
There was none there to begin with. A lot of Dracar is going to get replayed.
Mike McCary 12, who is checking in on the
Yes.
chat room, says MTV now stands for moron television.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's
actually most television.
I haven't watched MTV seriously since Downtown Julie Brown.
Yes.
Club
Yo MTV
I'm
Raps.
telling you, I was Colin Quinn, Remote Control, man.
No, Club MTV
I
at
love
like
Colin
4
Quinn.
o'clock in the afternoon.
With
It was like a
Downtown-
live dance show
Yeah, I
with
know what you're talking
Downtown
about, yeah.
Julie Brown. The black Downtown Julie Brown, not the
yeah.
other Julie Brown. There were
Exactly.
two Julie Browns,
I know what Julie
I know,
looks
it just
like now.
never
She's
made
white.
sense to me. Now, what his
See,
name
my whole
was. I
thing
don't
was like
remember
when
that.
they came out with like the Real World, I thought that was the biggest bunch of crap you ever seen. Because the Real World is not about trying to survive in a house with a bunch of people you don't know. The
Right.
Real World is about trying to survive in a house with a bunch of people you do know.
Right, exactly.
That's the real world. okay?
Exactly.
The
Survive
real world
that
would
hell.
be that those people would kill each other. Then it would be
Yeah.
real to me.
That's what I'm saying. Try to survive in a house with not nine strangers, nine
Right.
people you
Just
know.
film a shore house in Seattle for the summer.
No,
Well,
most
my
of
house on
Martha
Sunday.
Quinn,
Yeah.
most of those MTV VJs are now working on Sirius XM, the 80s channel.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yep.
Yeah.
The one guy who's on all the
Remember
time.
Kurt Loder back in the day?
Absolutely.
Kurt Loder.
Well, he
Kurt
was-
Loder.
That was MTV News.
Right. He did the news.
That's where I used to get my news.
Exactly. Me
now
too.
I go to E! Television.
Yeah,
Network
E!
to get my
Television,
news.
right.
Yeah.
And see who got plastic surgery this week.
This was supposed to be clean.
He said it was clean. Now I got to rip him.
This is not clean.
That's all. I could barely hear a word the guy said.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. I know. I think everybody missed it.
I have a headache from banging my head.
Really?
Man.
I never watch headbangers.
That was very relaxing.
I get a headache watching that
Yes.
show because you have to bang your head, right?
Right. If you're about to
gotta do-
slaughter your whole family, that's a good song to listen
Slaughter your whole family.
Yeah, it's a good song to listen to right before you leave the house.
That gets you started right there.
Absolutely. Before you go into the tool shed.
Yeah. Start
What is
picking up
it
your
about?
weapon of choice.
Okay,
It's a
I've
story,
always-
this guy.
There are certain types of songs, that being one of them, that make you angry when you're listening to it. This is not a healthy thing to listen
it's kind
to.
of funny.
Luigi was angry before he even came in here tonight.
Yeah.
I know.
I was angry for other reasons because the man is trying to keep me down, and I am
There you
pissed
go.
off.
See? He loosened up, though, with the one stroke and got
Oh,
played.
how can you not?
Yeah,
So we give you your MTV update. Michael Vick's going to start for the Steelers against the Ravens on
May look
Thursday
easy,
Night Football.
but it's
it
hard.
may look easy, but it's hard.
Right.
And what's interesting here is Baltimore's favored. That the game in Vegas, it started as a pick'em game.
That's a tough
And
game.
now Baltimore 0-3, and they've never been 0-3, facing an 0-4 as they go up to Pittsburgh. Now I know Pittsburgh's defense isn't very good, and I know Ben Roethlisberger isn't there either. But should Baltimore be favored in Pittsburgh on a Thursday night?
We talked about
tough.
this before the show, Tony. I think the only reason why is because Vic started. Because let's be honest, if Ben Roethlisberger was completely healthy, this wouldn't even
Pittsburgh would be an
Pitts-
8-point favorite.
Exactly. So the only reason why is because Vic's starting. They don't know how Vic's going to run the offense. Can you were saying can Baltimore go 0-4, and that's why
People didn't think they'd go 0-3.
Yeah.
Well, after the first 2 games, you watch them play. I mean, can you really doubt them for saying they go 0-3? I mean, they played Cincinnati last week.
Yeah, but they had never been. I mean, we saw this weekend there were 8 teams.
Yeah, you know what? They never
8
been.
teams going in. There were 0-2, and then we saw the Giants get their win last Thursday night.
The Eagles.
And then the Eagles got their first win. And then who else got their first wins this weekend? The Colts got their first win,
Colts.
and they struggled to do it.
Right,
I mean, they
but
had
they
to do
still
it
did it.
late.
Yep.
But, Tony, when's the last time Baltimore's been this bad?
They haven't.
It's
They've never been 0-3.
Not since they've been- yeah.
This is a
But they
shell.
still have Joe Flacco. They still have some
Right,
talent.
but they
Justin
don't have the
Forsett. You want to
defense.
talk about guys who were fantasy studs and fantasy duds
Duds.
this year?
Yep.
Justin Forsett. If you're a fantasy player, is anybody taking him in their leagues right now?
Oh, yeah, he got drafted pretty high in a lot of leagues.
But I'm
because
saying after 3 weeks,
I would be surprised if by this week, if he doesn't produce, and I mean very good numbers, he's probably going to start getting cut. I don't mean like really good. I mean he's got to start
Not by the
producing
team, by
shows.
fantasy
Yeah,
players.
he's going to start getting let go by a lot of fantasy teams or people.
well, look at DeMarco Murray. I mean, is anybody taking them? Who's going to take him on his fantasy?
I told everybody to avoid DeMarco Murray. Avoid
From the
him like
beginning?
the plague. Avoid
Before
him.
the first game?
Yes, because I told everyone. I said
You said he's not in
that
the
Chip
system?
Kelly, the Philadelphia Eagles, do not have Darren Sproles in place and did not pay Ryan Matthews X amount of millions of dollars to have them just carry the ball 2 or 3 times a game. You never know who's going to be the one who goes off for the Philadelphia Eagles fantasy-wise, okay, as their running backs go.
Because you can't use them all one time. You can't.
You know, it looks like right now Ryan Matthews is hot, so he's going to ride Ryan Matthews. If DeMarco comes back, they're going to play DeMarco Murray. And then you never know where you're going to get from Darren Sproles. They can bring him out there 70% of the snaps. They can bring him out there 30% of the snaps. He's out there on every passing down.
But say this about Darren Sproles. I mean, when the Eagles acquired him, that was one of the greatest heists of all time.
Why do you think Drew Brees walked into that office and flipped all
Absolutely.
hell for letting him
That
go?
was the beginning of the
Yep.
end of,
Yeah.
the New Orleans offense.
And they
Because
fell off in a
That story
hurry.
was
too.
true. He literally kicked down that door and was like, "What are you doing? Why are you letting Darren Sproles go?"
And
He
then,
knows
of course,
what he missed.
Jimmy Graham, they let him go. And you see the Saints team, without
Big
Brees.
fall off.
But although, one of the 17 McCown brothers played well.
Yeah, one of the 17 McCown brothers.
As opposed to the
They're
other
like
guy.
they're like the Molinas in baseball.
They really are.
Yeah.
They're like the Zendejas for kicking family.
Fantastic Zendejas knowledge, Tony.
The kicking
Not
Zendejas.
the famous Zendejas of they're trapeze artists, but you want to know that.
But there's some
The
really,
flying Zende houses.
There's some bad football. I mean, the Chicago Bears.
That's
they're
the other thing.
brutal.
Oh, man.
Tony, that's the other thing we talked about. Actually, you know what? Cue up the music and then we could talk about it.
I got to say this to all my friends out there, Chicago. They're already giving it. They're already trading their defense. They traded Bostic. They traded what's his name? The defensive lineman, the tackle. Jared Allen was traded on Monday, and then they traded John Bostic, the linebacker. They're trading away guys that supposedly don't fit the system.
Right.
Well, the Bears, one of the things they always had was decent defense.
Always.
But now this defense stinks.
Same thing with
And
Baltimore.
their offenses, and they run out of guy. Did you see the stats on the Bears? They went punt. They punted 10 on all 10 of their possessions. They punted the football.
It's a disgrace.
That's
You should not be that
unheard of.
bad.
To punt the ball 10 times, you have the ball. All 10 times you punt the football.
That's what happens when you have no Alshon Jeffrey. You have
Right.
Jimmy Clausen as your starting quarterback.
That was the biggest lock in the history of football.
Yeah, that was-
Clausen was 1-10 going. I said that last week on the pod. Jimmy Clausen was 1-10 as a starter. He's being thrown into the fire in Seattle
Exactly.
against a winless Seahawk team.
Right.
And the line was 15, and they still covered it easily.
with a returning Cam Chancellor.
Yep.
That game was hyped up to go.
Absolutely.
But and again, here's the funny part that we were talking about this earlier. Again, is the Raiders are favored in this game on the road.
Yep.
When is the last time in recent history you've ever seen Oakland favored
No
on the
clue.
road?
Well, they had lost 11 straight, and I was doing the Raiders postgame a few years back. They had that Jason Campbell team. Hugh Jackson was the coach. Jason Campbell was playing well. That's when they had guys. They had some decent receivers. Darius Hayward-Bay wasn't really good, but they had guys who could move the offense. Marcel Reese is still one of the few guys who's still there, who's a fullback. And the Raiders, now they have Latavius Murray. You want to talk about a guy everybody's going to be jumping on now?
I was on him from the beginning.
Latavius Murray, the running back. He's a guy now. People are going crazy about him. Derek Carr looks like he's the real deal at quarterback if he can stay healthy. And Amari Cooper, who hasn't really done anything in the red zone, he's a good player too. So the Raiders are actually hitting now on some draft picks.
Yeah.
And one of the
About
things
time.
they always did was always reach with draft picks. The Jamarcus Russell pick set them back 5-6 years.
The Darius Hayward-Bay pick was just terrible.
Yeah, but at least they kept using Darius Hayward-Bay. They knew right away that Jamarcus Russell was a stiff, and they just had to use him until
no
they finally
choice.
gave up. So when you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, and it takes you 5 or 6 years, and then you go through the Jason Campbells and the Bruce Gradkowskis, and then you bring in Carson Palmer, who you can't keep healthy, and then Carson Palmer goes to Arizona and looks great when he's healthy. Carson Palmer's one of those guys, when he's healthy, the guy is good. Unfortunately, he gets hurt a lot. But Carson Palmer's an unbelievable player. Number 1 overall pick again. Didn't, in Cincinnati was a good player, not a great player. He's going through a lot what Andy Dalton's going through now. Good player. Is he good enough to win it all? And Andy Dalton and the Cincinnati Bengals, to me, are one of those teams right now that's playing lights out. They are playing great football. And the biggest question is always, well, what are they going to do in the playoffs? But A.J. Green, talk about
he's unbelievable.
Off-the-chart stud.
That guy's ball skills are second to none, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody says, Julio Jones, and Julio Jones, to his right, is an absolute freak. Okay? Don't get me wrong. Julio Jones is one of the best wide receivers in the league. He's not the best. Antonio Brown is the best wide receiver in the league, bar none. But I don't know if I'd be crazy for saying this, but I would actually take A.J. Green's talent over Julio Jones. I think A.J. Green's a better wide receiver than Julio Jones.
That's pretty close. So
Julio Jones is a little bit more of a physical freak than A.J. Green, but watch A.J. Green play. Watch how he tracks the ball. It's not about just, Julio Jones, they give him the ball. They try to give him the ball in space. They give him bubble screens. They go in those little quick slants. Watch A.J. Green go down the field and get open. Not against single coverage, not against double coverage, but against triple coverage. I haven't seen anyone get triple covered like that since T.O. was in his prime. Seriously, I've never seen someone draw that much attention since Terrell Owens was in his prime.
So we're talking about the good teams. The bad teams. Is there any doubt which team is worse? The Chicago Bears or the San Francisco 49ers?
The Niners.
Yeah, I think the Niners.
The Niners are worse.
And to me, that's a coaching drop-off. Because of the coaching drop-off.
Because the Bears are a team that are just riddled with injuries. Okay, this is a team that's hurt. The Niners are healthy, and they suck.
Yep.
They stink.
That tells you more about Harbaugh. That tells you more about Harbaugh as a coach.
The Bears, at least, say what you will, but, about Color. Color's a turnover machine. I mean, he's overpaid, and he stinks anyway.
You know what I'll say about the Bears?
They are who we thought they were.
Exactly.
Exactly right. But
I thought you were going to play that song.
I did, but I had to play that
They have Matt Forte, okay? They have Alshon Jeffrey, who's a very good wide receiver. He's young, but he's been hurt. Kevin White, their number 1 draft pick, is missed the entire season. Okay, at least they have something to look forward to.
But when you're already starting to unload players 3 weeks into the season.
Tony, that San Francisco team, as soon as Harbaugh left, that whole team left with him.
Exactly right.
Okay.
So let me play this for all my friends in Chicago.
Yes.
The Cubs, they're good. The Bears.
The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. They really, 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 really suck. Yes, the Bears still.
Everybody now.
Wait a minute. Hey!
There you go.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Exactly.
Love me some Denny Green.
Throwback Bears this year.
And then Denny Green went on to say,
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
exactly. That's great stuff.
I'm not a slob, damn it.
I can do it all.
My girlfriend just tells me all the time that she cleans
I
better
would
than me,
be
so I
the
let her
perfect
clean.
wife for somebody one day. I can cook.
You look
I
good
can
in heels.
Clean. I can iron my own clothes. I can fix my own car, my house. I can dismantle stuff. I can put it back together again. I could quite possibly be the world's most perfect woman if I were a woman.
If you were Caitlyn. Could we call you Caitlyn?
If I were Caitlyn Jenner and rear-ended some person on the
and got away with it,
highway, causing them to die.
Well, because she wasn't Caitlyn then.
And
She was
can
Bruce.
get away with murder or
exactly.
manslaughter
Outrage, by the
or
way.
no charges whatsoever.
Yeah,
That's incredible. Not one charge.
That's
It's good to have
amazing.
money. It's good to have money. That's what it's all
So
about.
go on. If all this,
Yeah.
But I'm not.
He lost his train of
yeah.
No, it bothers me because, listen, I have nothing against Bruce Jenner and Caitlyn Jenner. I knew Bruce Jenner. He used to fill in for me in my Fox show.
exactly.
So I admire Bruce Jenner. But when you get into an accident, and it's obvious if you've seen the videotape,
Oh, yeah.
that he was texting or doing something or putting makeup on or something. He was
Right.
distracted, and he rear-ended another car that then crashed into another car and went into the other lane of
Yep.
traffic. If you've ever been to California on the PCH,
Which happened to me. That's the accident that I was in.
Exactly.
I was lucky enough to live.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And that
The
guy,
airbag saved your life.
No, that guy who hit me got a slew of charges put
Right.
against him. You're going to tell me?
You know why? He was broke.
That's
why.
That's the thing. Tony was saying. It's forget about the fact of like what the sentence was. The fact is there's not one
not
charge.
one, I'm not saying he
Not
should have gone to
one
jail for
charge.
murder or manslaughter. I'm not suggesting
one charge?
that he was. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. But to get away scot-free is absolute.
But he's a hero.
But now,
Come on,
we don't know all the details of the.
because he helped free Scott.
He got 0 charges filed against him.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
But there's got to be some charge, Robin.
I'm
not
playing
saying
devil's
murder.
advocate. There
so
was
what's
charges.
the devil's advocate?
No impaired driving. No reckless driving.
I'm just
No
saying,
nothing.
There were charges, obviously. That's
But
why
they
he
were
was in-
all thrown
They were all
out.
Right.
thrown out.
Driving without
So
junk.
what's the devil's advocate part of this?
He
I'm just
rear-ended
saying-
somebody. Automatically, he is at fault, no matter what.
No,
there is
because let me. I'm playing devil's advocate.
So
because
give me devil's advocate evidence that he has no
Where's
charge.
I
Keanu
don't
Reeves.
have the evidence.
You're out of order.
This whole damn
You're all out of order.
podcast is out of order.
Great movie.
You want
No.
the truth? You can't handle the truth.
I'm just saying, if they subpoenaed his cell phone, her cell phone, whatever.
His at the time.
At the time, it was him. Maybe there was no texts or tweets or anything at the time of the accident, so they were not able to charge him with distracted driving at the time.
it doesn't matter.
doesn't matter,
It was
it's
reckless
right.
driving. He rear-ended someone at that high of a speed. He was not paying attention.
Right.
I agree with you.
So
I'm just
therefore,
playing-
the
I'm just
manslaughter
saying-
charge was not given to him because they couldn't prove that he was on his phone.
Right.
But they could prove that he rear-ended somebody driving too fast that was stopped in front of him.
And
that person
I
hit
agree.
another person
I'm not-
who then
I'm
got
agreeing
pushed
with
across
you.
the highway and died.
And again, Tony, that kind of damage does not happen at 20 miles an hour.
No
okay?
way.
It was
at high-
devastating.
he, she, whatever the hell he is this week, was at high speeds,
Yes.
okay, and was not paying attention.
And I'm
He
speaking
rear-ended someone.
on behalf of
No, he's
people
right.
out there. You know, the OJs and the rich people can get away with
Exactly.
heinous crimes
Exactly.
when they can get a lawyer. The fact that Caitlyn Jenner has not gotten one charge.
Or Bruce.
Not any charge
Don't leave Bruce out.
whatsoever. Again, I'm not saying he killed. I'm not saying murder. I'm not even saying manslaughter.
Right.
I'm saying reckless driving.
It's an outrage.
I'm saying some sort of
Not
punishment.
one thing.
Misdemeanor.
No license suspension.
No.
Exactly.
Not that I've heard of. I mean, maybe there was, but not that I've heard of.
Nope.
No.
Actually, you know
No
what?
charges.
That would actually came up on the news. They would have said it's
He got an ESPY for all that. That's what he got.
Exactly, yeah.
He got a damn ESPY.
Exactly. And a reality show.
ridiculous.
Congratulations.
And I'm not a hater. I'm trying to look at this fair and square. It's not about whether he was a transsexual or transgender. I don't care about any
No,
of that
but who
stuff.
you are depends on what happens to you. That's ridiculous. Man.
I
you
agree.
killed somebody because you weren't paying attention. And I don't care if they had the phone or not. She, whatever, was distracted by something.
Absolutely.
And I'll bet dollars of donuts that it was a phone.
Right.
Okay? They weren't paying attention. Why?
That is
because
indisputable.
Yes.
If you're looking at the window, okay, and you look back, you have time to stop. What happens is when you don't have the time to stop is when you're looking down.
And
the
how
next thing you
dare
know is you look
Robin
up.
Austin, of all people, to try to play devil's advocate with a guy who should have been charged with something and got charged with nothing.
Okay,
See me
when
right
you
here?
play
Me right
devil's
here?
advocate, it doesn't mean that you actually agree with it.
You're trying to make for good conversation.
I'm just. I
You
set
give-
you
I'm,
up.
I'm playing devil advocate by saying that, by the way.
What?
Like, abba, dabba,
Yeah,
dabba,
exactly.
dabba,
Yabba
dabba,
dabba
dabba.
dabba.
Agabid?
Give me Sora Rapture.
Exactly.
We're out of
Agabid.
it. We've run out of
we're
rapture
done.
just in
Wait,
time.
wait.
All right, let's wrap up the podcast. Can we play the?
We
the
are,
music?
and I'm gonna play. I think.
Loud
this
and
is-
scratchy.
I'm gonna play the new out. We'll play the new intro next week when we are with Podcast 1.
Beautiful.
But this is our fantastic new out.
I'll rack you. In the meantime, be careful out there. Don't drink and
you
drive.
turned it down, Tony.
Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive.
Hold on, I have to start it over again because you actually.
I
turned
don't
it
know
off.
which one it's on, Robin.
That's why you shouldn't touch stuff.
I'm touching it because it was too loud and it's distorting. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink like Robin does on the show.
Don't text and drive.
And God bless America. It's a
Yes.
beautiful country. We'll see you next Tuesday night.
Yes.
Into the Night podcast.
Stay tuned on social media for when and where that will be.
Yes.
Exactly.
And listen to the entire podcast on TonyBrunoShow.com.
Thanks for listening to The Tony Bruno Show.
We hope you'll make this a weekly visit.
Download new episodes every Thursday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
Come back soon.